Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Barlow B Theorizing, and welcome back to the Barlow Zone, home of the one and only Demon Hunter King Kaido, himself sent to Azeroth. How's everybody doing today? I hope y'all having a fantastic day. It's it's kind of a sad week, isn't it? You know, we got the down week in the manga. I caught myself waking up the last few days because the spoilers usually come out Tuesday, Wednesday, and then early scanlations usually Thursday morning sometimes. So I found myself the last few days waking up, hitting up the website like, oh yeah, I had to remind myself we're on a break week this week, right? But just because we're on a break week doesn't mean we're not thinking about One Piece, right? Like, there's a lot going on right now in this flashback. Like, I made it the title of one of my videos. I'm gonna say it again. This flashback is the hottest fire in manga history. Like, prove me wrong. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna say manga history. I'll amend that. This flashback is the hottest fire in shonen manga history. That battle manga intended for a younger audience, shonen, right? Not talk about Shonen Jump, the magazine, the publication. But go ahead, let me know, because I know there's a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Hunter and Hunter x Hunter fans out there. I did read Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll be honest, been putting off Demon Hunter and Hunter x Hunter. Heard a lot of great things. Don't get me wrong. It just... I checked out the anime on both of them before I started getting into trying to read it, right? And it just wasn't my stick. It wasn't. I got nothing bad to say about either. I'd probably get around to reading them eventually, but I mean, when we're talking about titles like Fairy Tail, One Piece, and Noragami being some of my favorite manga, right? Like, I don't know. Demon Hunter and Hunter x Hunter just didn't quite catch for me. So let me know. Do you think there's something that's happened in shonen manga that's bigger than this God Valley flashback? Would love to be proven wrong on this one. But with everything we've been getting in this flashback, right? The Rocks, the Herald, the Davy Clan, God Valley, Figureland stuff. We got Gorosei and God's Knights. Like, that was 7 things. Like, that's nuts. This flashback is popping. But I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really been thinking about much of it this week. Outside of a couple things I'm hoping to get a little clarity on in 1161. Those things I have already talked about, namely my theory concerning Dragon, is something I'm really anxious to find out, and whether or not the Kuja pirates are going to show up like I think they are. But what I've been thinking about the last few days are some of my favorite characters, because anybody around the channel is probably pretty obvious to y'all. Dragon is for sure one of my favorite characters in the story. Aside from the fact he just hasn't had a lot of information about him, so that enigma factor. I've always kind of got this feeling about Dragon, right? Whenever he comes up in conversation, whenever he's mentioned in a chapter, anything at all, whenever somebody else mentions him in a video, I've had this feeling, right? And it's finally starting to feel like it's paying off. Like, yeah, got all the Dragon slander, worst father ever, abandoned his son, stuff like that, left him to his dad, who was kind of abusive, although this flashbacks told us that Garp wasn't always that way. But there's been a lot of negative talk about Dragon, and because a lot of clarity's coming now, right, with this flashback, we're getting a lot of Dragon information that's shedding light on him in ways a lot of us, even us Dragon Glazers, probably couldn't have predicted, right? Like, this flashback has done an amazing job of fleshing out Zebek as a father and, a proper dude. Like, Zebek's been a solid man, especially to his crew, right? And the last couple chapters with Dragon, we're starting to get a little more light on the revelations that made him the man that he is today. So obviously looking forward to all that. But my Dragon's only number 3 on my list. Yes, I think Oh man, I think Luffy and Zoro do round out my top five. So I do have some Straw Hats in the top five on my list of, all-time One Piece characters. But they're not in my top three. I like a main character. I really like a good main character who's written really well, right? I like a main character who makes me feel like they are going to make everything work out, right? Like you got your Natsus, you got your Luffy's, and you got your Yato God. Yes, I'm probably going to be making Noragami references. Not something that came up during writing out the script or whatever, but I don't know. I woke up thinking about Noragami today and still hoping and praying, maybe someday, season three. It's not likely to happen, but I've been thinking about a lot of my favorites, right? And I know my channel's called Barlow Talks Manga. I really did. I wanted to branch out beyond my biggest love, right? Because One Piece takes up a lot of my brain power. It's the series I enjoy the most. Not some I started reading or watching really early in my life. Some I came into towards my later teens, about the time I was graduating. But man, there's a lot of really great characters. And I wanted to take this video to talk about my other two top three characters, right? Kuma D Goat, that was my Steam handle for a while. I loved playing me some Dota, so I did have Kuma D Goat as my gamer tag for a bit in Dota. Man, after we found out the Nerona thing, I even had Emu Nerona as a gamer tag just to try and troll and see if anybody else in any of my matches were One Piece fans as well. But Kaido, man, and it's pretty recent. Like my list has been shaken up in the last what 5 to 7 years, because man, you know what, I'm gonna be honest, actually thinking about it, considering characters on Elbaf, I think Zoro's out of my top five now. But and you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and use this to transition into the primary discussion today. I love an antagonist who is not only relatable, right? Maybe not relatable in the sense of, man, yeah, achieving Kaido's dream would be awesome, right? Like relatable in the sense of as mature audiences, because One Piece has been around for, oh good God, we just passed 28 years. Like One Piece is almost as old as I am. That is bananas. So you're going to have some more mature audiences, right? Not everybody is going to be the kid that the shonen tag is usually attributed with appealing to. Now, it is still a battle shonen, so we constantly have new fans coming into the community, right? New minds thinking on things that are maybe 15 plus years old. They're sitting there like, man, how did y'all not see that? Like it seems so easy, and like, yeah, it's kind of cocky, but at the same time it's like, okay, cool, you know what, I appreciate you, kid, because you're right, it was really easy to figure out. But Kaido presented a bad guy, and I feel like, especially anybody who's been around the last 23 videos since I made my comeback, not counting the first 4 when I was doing a different brand, I guess, right? Kaido, I'm always, Barlow Zone, home of the one and only Demon Hunter King Kaido himself, sent to Azeroth. It's not a gimmick, it's not a bit. It's Kaido is my number one. Like, especially after Wano. Like, there wasn't a lot before Wano. Got some really crappy silhouettes, got some illusions to what may be going on from Dofi on Dressrosa is when it really started to pick up steam on the Kaido front, right? I'm sorry, y'all, it's been hot. That I saw that. I know y'all saw it. I saw it. But, you know, ever since Wano, Kaido lore has been in a premium. Sure, Egghead didn't offer a lot. I'll be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time diving into a lot of the conversation points and threads and topics and stuff that were discussed on Wano. There might be some, or not Wano, Egghead. There might be some clues about the Lunarians or Kaido or some on Egghead. If they are, they were very well hidden. But even doubling back, right, this flashback, I've mentioned it before, like, we are still feasting on Kaido lore through the lens of Davy D. Zebek, Rox D. Zebek, King Zebek, you know, whatever you want to call him, because, man, this character, like Zebek, is also climbing my rankings because he's another bad guy. We've been told he's bad, right? We've been told he was the, I don't know, douche king. Like, dude was just, he was him, he knew it, and, you know, he made sure it was the rest of the world's problem. That's not the Zebek we've been introduced to, right? Like, this is a nuanced character with depth. There are people out there who are loving Rox D. Zebek now, right? Davy D. Zebek. So that relatable bad guy is really awesome, especially for the mature audiences. Now, you might notice I'm not saying adult audiences, because that kind of bleeds into another point about Kaido, right? Because Kaido wasn't always the drunk, washed up has-been. And yes, I just used the term washed up has-been for my favorite character in the story, right? But that's what he is. We have been talking more about Moria lately, right? Because of the cover story that we got for, I believe it was 1159, having the Kozuki Moria Memorial. Moria Memorial, damn. That was a bit of a tongue twister to say for me, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, we've been talking a little more about Moria recently, and I find the duality of the Moria Kaido fight very interesting. Because, you know, we all know the bit, right? Like, Gecko Moria even admitted to it on Thriller Bark. Like, after he lost to Kaido and he saw his entire crew wiped out, he gave up. But so did Kaido. Because, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people who click on this video are already going to be Kaido fans. I might get a few Kaido haters. Love him or hate him, he had an impact on you as a character, and that's just part of what makes him very intriguing to some, right? Like, as an example, a lot of people really love Doflamingo. I don't. There's no part of me that wants to see him come back into the story in a good or bad manner. For whatever reason, he's one of the characters, one of the bad characters I refuse to give any passes to. Like, I made that video, How Bad Could It Be, right? Talking about Blackbeard and Sakazuki and the potential for redemption arcs there. A redemption arc has never crossed my mind for Dofi, but people still love him. Dofi is still a favorite character to a lot of people in the community because he was nuanced. He had depth, he had emotions, he had drive, passion, a goal, and he had anger. And, you know, we see it all the time online. Negativity sells when it comes to social media, right? Like, you don't always want somebody like me here making a video glazing up a character that you love because I also really love him, right? Like, a lot of times it comes down to this person's anger resonated with my anger. And so you become a follower, you become a fan, whatever it is, right? I think for me, what it was with Kaido is I could relate to that feeling of having grand ambitions, big dreams, right? Because in the beginning, after the fall of the Rocks Pirates, as Kaido was coming into his own before he met Arbor. Some of y'all might still know him as King, prefer the name King. I really like the name Arbor personally. But as he was coming into his own, his goal was to fulfill the prophecy of Joy Boy, I guess, right? Like he had an awareness and a knowledge of Joy Boy and the destiny he was going to fulfill, right? Like that's what Kaido wanted to be. And that's part of at least how it was pitched. He was able to recruit King Arbor. King Arbor, I like that. That's his new name. That's how Kaido was able to recruit King Arbor to the Beast Pirates, is because his ambition aligned with that of Joy Boy. And I don't think it's been outright said anywhere yet. Kind of alluded to that the Lunarians may have at least been on the side of Joy Boy back in the Void Century. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. I'll put it to you like this, I guess, right? Like, if the Lunarians had sided with the 20 kingdoms against the Ancient Kingdom, right? Then why would the world government have wanted to hunt and exterminate them in mass, genocide style, like they're trying to do with the Davy clan, right? Man, I don't know. And even with bad stuff, I'm going to take a hot second real quick here, because every time that word genocide gets brought up, I get this echo in the back of my head talking about Captain Janeway. Because, yes, I know the Borg were bad, but I don't know, maybe to elaborate on my point a little more, one of my favorite characters from Star Trek The Next Generation was Third of Five. What was it? The episode, I believe, was called I, Borg. Geordi LaForge and this abandoned Borg member have this really amazing bottle episode story together. And you ended up realizing during that episode that the Borg had the potential for individuality again. And then comes Captain Janeway. You know, I'm gonna kill the Borg Queen, blow her up, and absolutely genocide every Borg across the galaxy. Was it for the better? Probably, yes. But man, that means she killed Hugh. I can't give her a pass on that, because dude, Hugh was an amazing character. If you guys haven't seen it yet, or you just haven't seen it in a while, highly recommend it. I believe it was season 5, the episode titled I, Borg. It might be season 3. Go check that out. Treat yourself. It's not much action, very story driven, and a bottle episode. But man, like that's just one of the things that has stuck with me and resonated with me since me and my pops used to watch the reruns when I was a kid. So these relatable characters, right? And then, you know, the fact that Kaido's, I mean, maybe not best friend, because as I've pointed out, this flashback kind of alludes to the fact that Kaido had a very high level of respect for Charlotte Linland and Edward Newgate, right? Like Big Mom and Whitebeard were big brother, big sister, really, for the most part. Like he genuinely seemed to look up to these individuals. So maybe King wasn't his best friend, but by the time Wano came around, the Rocks Pirates had been dissolved for almost 40 years. King had basically become his best friend, right? Like one of the only people who had been through everything, had known the struggle. And the fact that King is a Lunarian, which means he is... Now, I'm not saying King's been around for 800-900 years, but he is connected to a race that some believed to be gods during and before the Void Century. Like the Lunarians, at least from the lore we got on Wano, really seem to be, at the very least, higher class on Planet Blue than any other race, right? And then we gotta consider Wano. Sorry, taking a look. I got a couple long notes here. I think I might skip over a couple of them. But we got to consider Wano because, yeah, by that time, Kaido had reached the point where he realized, okay, you know what, I'm never gonna be Joy Boy. I can't be Joy Boy. It's not me the prophecy was talking about. That's when he gave up, right? He's off. Man, I had this dream. I had these goals. I had this ambition. Come to find out, it is literally impossible. Like, you just. I'm not saying my dream was impossible. It very much could still come to fruition, but I've reached a point in my life where I've kind of realized that I haven't made the moves up to this point yet that kind of preclude getting to my dream. Like, basically, I haven't even started taking any steps. And I started to feel that in my soul, right? Like, okay, man, should I give up? Is this dream really meant for me? Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about YouTube. That this format, this kind of thing, was never something I saw myself doing in any manner for a living. That's why I'm always saying, I'm not here trying to make a living off of YouTube. I'm not here trying to turn it into a money-making opportunity. I'm just here trying to have fun, keep my own spirit up, and maybe try to spark some discussion among some of y'all's friends groups, right? Maybe get some other people thinking critically about some angles that we may have already come to conclusions on, type thing. Now, with all this, because I did say I wanted to talk about both Kaido and Kuma, right? But while I was making my notes, kind of doing up a little script for me to keep everything on track, which I failed at again. I really am trying. I don't know if you know me in real life, if you ever get the chance to meet me in real life, you'll learn that's kind of how I do. Like, I'll get going on a theory and then all of a sudden I spend 15 minutes talking about something else. But I did want to talk about both Kuma and Kaido. I decided not to because I want to pitch my theory about Kaido, right? King Kaido, the man himself. And I suppose as a prelude to the theory, don't worry, I'll get to that here in just a second. I want to point out Kaido didn't die. I've seen a lot of speculation. I've seen people talking about it. Oh, dude took a lava bath. All right, so let's take a look at it, right? And why I feel confident that Kaido didn't die. A, we never got any kind of death panel. Like, we saw him and Big Mom floating in a pool of lava. Big Mom potentially died. Do I really believe Big Mom died? Kinda, honestly. Because we have been told she is just a human. An especially tall human. Got an especially thick constitution. But she's still human. There's never been any kind of confirmation, mumble, rumble, even a rumor that Big Mom was anything other than human. It kind of played a part into what her dream was about building a nation of inclusivity where everybody got to be a part of. Kaido, on the other hand, we've been told, dude spent years checking off a list, trying to take himself off the census because of his depression, right? He hit that point, realized he wasn't Kaido. Yeah, Kaido hit that wall, realized he wasn't Kaido, had to be, no. Now, Kaido hit that wall, realized he would never be able to be Joy Boy. And the depression hit him hard. Like, freight train ran that fool all the way over. And he realized, am I unkillable? And made a checklist, started checking things off. Check. Went through everything. Even part of the introduction with him, the first proper reveal of that, Himothy Chadson with the horns, right? But I think more importantly than the fact we never actually got a death panel, for reference, what I'm referring to is even something as simple as the hand falling after Shamrock Shank's mom pleads with Dragon to save her babies. That's a death panel. We know that character is done. We may see them again in another flashback, but for now they are done. Their story's over. The thread's been cut. However you want to put it. We never not only never got that with Kaido, but more importantly, I think the biggest argument I can make to try and help people understand Kaido did not die, he fought Luffy. Luffy was the op. And what does Luffy not do? Luffy doesn't kill. He doesn't. So no, Kaido is not dead. Real quick, this part isn't part of the theory, but I had the thought while I was talking about it. I mentioned that there's the possibility Big Mom did actually die in that lava bath, right? And the lava bath, that's the other thing. Like, come on, man. You think on his checklist, he's trying all these things. He's got his headquarters on an island and there's lava available. You think the fool never thought about taking a lava bath himself? Come on, man. Like, spent decades. All right, come here, Alice. He spent decades trying to take himself off the senses, right? You really think he didn't try the lava bath himself? Ah, big yawn. Look at her go. Look at Alice. But I think the fact his op was Luffy is the most important point to consider, right? Like, Luffy and the Straw Hats don't kill. They subdue, they lock up, they whatever it may be. Killing is not an option. So, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. You know what? I ain't even gonna be mad at you, Alice. You're so adorable. I was talking about Big Mom. I think because, you know, I don't think we've seen the full power of her devil fruit. I think it's possible. Now, again, this isn't part of my theory. I'm gonna pitch it as a sub theory endorsed by the Alice. I am Alice, and I approve of this theory. It's possible Big Mom awakened her devil fruit as she was dying in that lava bath, right? Like, and what do I mean by awakened? Turned herself into a homie for Kaido, her little brother, the kid she felt the need to save on God Valley, force feeding him a devil fruit when she saw him dying. I think at worst, Big Mom made herself a homie for Kaido. Not only so she could live, but maybe she actually thought the lava bath was going to cook him. So she's all, no, okay, you know what? I'm going to give my power to him. Make sure my little brother survives. One last act of kindness, whatever it will. Me and Alice are going to go ahead and pitch that one as a little micro theory. But let's get into the big theory. Kaido comes back. Yes, Kaido not only back to the story, but okay, let me make sure, because I got a few notes and my last notes got some sub notes, so let me make sure I do this right. Kaido is returning, and Kaido will be on Luffy's side. That one seems pretty straightforward with what I've already pitched, but just to double cover it, Kaido wanted to be Joy Boy. When he found out he couldn't be Joy Boy, he decided to become a gatekeeper to ensure that when Joy Boy came back, he would be able to meet him. And I think because of that, the fact that Kaido did get to see Gear 5th Luffy, did get to hear the drums of liberation, got to interact with that power set, is going to lead him to joining Luffy's cause going into this final war. And, you know, just real quick, I want to throw out there as well, just in case anybody had any questions, King Kaido tanked that last punch. He chose to take that hit, let the battle be done because he saw what he needed to see. He saw the return of Joy Boy. He knew it was real. He's all, okay, I need to finish this before one of us kills the other one. And just tanked the hit. Like, yeah, okay, I know Luffy's all big old mega duper uber super sized, mega giant, ancient giant size, maybe even perhaps. But man, we're talking about Kaido. We're talking about a Seiryu. Full had the speed. He could have dodged that punch. He's got incredible willpower. He's got the dragon scales. Like, that punch was not the finisher that we were led to believe it was. Basically all I'm saying. Anyway, moving along. When they come back, Kaido and Arbor, King Arbor, will be sailing under Captain Yamato. Yes, I'm saying Kaido's coming back as a commander, not as a captain. Because, I don't know, and maybe it's just my thing with dads, but look, even Ellis wants to daydream. I don't think Kaido was as bad a dad as we all kind of think he was, right? Overprotective, had some very bad fallacies, 100%. Was he a good dad? No, I'm not arguing that. Dude was an awful dad. But, man, sometimes bad dads see what their kids grow up to be and can admit it. Can admit they had things wrong and their kids onto the right thing. It's possible. I've seen it happen in real life. So I do think they will be sailing under Captain Yamato. And I do think that will be aboard Pluton. Now you might be thinking, hey Barlow, didn't you do that theory about Cross Guild? And no, admittedly in my notes, I was thinking, okay, you know what? I'm going to add this bit here about assuming my theory about Cross Guild is incorrect. But in the middle of writing that note, it occurred to me, it doesn't even need to be incorrect, right? Like, Cross Guild could still get their hands on Pluton, and Yamato can still be captain of the, I don't know, what do we want to call, Wano Samurai Pirates? Whatever they end up calling themselves, right? Yamato can still be the captain, because I don't think she's going to be worried about being seen as the leader of all these idiots that make up the core and 99% of Cross Guild. I don't think she's going to worry about being seen as the leader of all of those idiots. Kaido is very much going to be, what's the term I used? Convincible by Crocodile. And obviously Crocodile and Mihawk are going to be happy not having to fight a Kaido. Like, I mean, come on now. It took a Luffy with the biggest Deus Ex in the history of Deus Ex to be able to bring this fool down. So Crocodile and Mihawk are going to be happy to have that power and not have to fight that power to get it on board. But more intriguingly, with Yamato King and Kaido essentially setting up shop alongside Cross Guild, because that's basically what Crocodile and Baroque Works did, and Mihawk. They just kind of set up shop parallel to Cross Guild and got caught up in the net that ended up making up Cross Guild. So then we could have the same thing with Moria, Doflamingo, Weevil. Screw it, let's bring back Don Krieg. I mean, we've been waiting to see Geen come back, right? Let's get Don Krieg up in Cross Guild. Basically, all of these former bad guys could end up joining. Sorry, I can only hold on, let me see if Alice will help me. Joining Cross Guild while also maintaining their individuality, basically, right? Like, their crew just happens to sail under the Cross Guild Grand Fleet. For better or for worse. But see, the thing that's intriguing about that is if we do bring back all these villains and have them play a part in Cross Guild, how does that shake out in the final war? Like, because I am theorizing, right, that Kaido is going to be on Luffy's side. Like, he wanted to see Joy Boy, he wanted to meet Joy Boy, and he did. There's almost no way, I don't know, in my mind, there's almost no way that Kaido fights alongside Blackbeard. Definitely no way Kaido fights alongside the world government, those slave driving bastards that tortured him hundreds of times. He ain't doing it. But does Buggy really want to fight alongside Luffy? Would Robin respect Luffy after he teams up with Crocodile? Is Doflamingo gonna want to team up with Luffy? Like, by having all of these guys back, we also are presented with the option where in the final war, Cross Guild itself breaks down into the three factions supporting the three: Blackbeard, Luffy, and the world government. So, I just wanted to pitch that. As I mentioned, I'm not convinced that Kaido's dead. I am 100% convinced he is coming back, and he will be on Luffy's side, sailing under Yamato with King Arbor still there alongside him. But this video's already gone on, about 36 minutes, I think. I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I'm sure y'all are done listening to me glazing King Kaido. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. You can hit me up in the comments. If that's not enough for you, feel free to hit me up in the Discord community, the Barlow Zone. As I've mentioned before, I got that set up. We can discuss any number of topics that you may find intriguing. And if you'd like, you can find me on the socials at Barlow B Theorizing on X and Tumblr. Make sure to get all those links posted in the description below. And as always, here, come here, Alice. You want to help me with the outro? As always, much love, fam.